We're going to be doing a REST example for client-generated ID. We've gone over a lot of Spring Boot microservice examples, and those will be in the playlist linked below the like button. We did have to skip update and delete though because Skillsoft, where I'm basing this off of, did not really cover those amazingly, so I'll skip over them until further time where I will have more time to investigate those. So this one we are going to have a REST example just for us, and it's going to be a client-generated ID. And so we want to generate a client ID. When we're looking at this, the first thing that we're going to want to do, of course, is make our project. So we have Spring IO here, and it's going to look like this. We're just using the Spring Web dependency for this one. Now, once we do this, we're going to take a look at how content negotiation works in RESTful web services that we will build using Spring Boot. Again, we're just going to use our Spring Web dependency. That's all we need. Now, we're going to have our project right here, and we're going to want to make a product.java. And in our product.java, all we have are these variables here, these fields. We're going to have a default constructor, and then we're also going to have getters and setters for all of these. This is going to give us our product. Now, we will implement this with an interface by adding a new class. So going into our com example service, which is a new package that we're making, separate from this REST service.api. We're not using this one to run it. But inside of our product.java, or the same package as product.java, we want to make a new interface. We're going to call it productservice.java. This one's going to be super simple. This is going to give us our product. We implement this by adding a new class. So we're going to have our public interface product service. This is going to come with it. And then inside of here, we're just going to do string get product int ID. Again, this is going to give us our product from here. So we're going to have a int ID, and that's just going to be a string get product. So now we need to have a class where we can add this interface. So inside of our package, we'll go into new class. We'll make our class. We want to add in our interface right here. We have our matching items, or we can choose our interface by typing in product service. And that's how we would implement our interface. So let's go to our product service. It's going to be product service IMPL. So we want to import this right here. Public class product service IMPL. It implements our product service. And then inside of here, we are going to have this method. Right? In this method, it's going to be kind of like a getter. We have this override. We have a request mapping where we pass in our headers, and we set it equal to accept equals application dash XML. And so when we want this class, we want our interface, and we want to perform content negotiation. To facilitate this, we need to use our request mapping. So this is what the content negotiation part comes in. So we have our request mapping here, and we have the value being desired to format our content. So we have accept is equal to application dash XML. So this means that our content will return in the form of XML. If we want to use anything else, we just change the type. So if we want like JSON, we would change it to that. But we're going to use XML, so we'll change it back to XML. Inside of here, we have our public string get product ID, or get product, and then we're going to pass in our int ID. And then from here, we're just going to return our p name, which would be like representing the product name. So the classes that we've made, this is our project, and then we have our project.java. We have our fields, we have this class, we have our product service.java, where we have this get product, we have our int ID. Inside of our product, it's a little bit different. This is get product ID. This is different. I didn't go too much in depth with the video. And then we have this right here. I'm assuming we would just go into our REST service, sample3 application, as we always do, and run this as a Spring Boot application. And we would go into the console, and it would look something like this. So that's going to be it for the example that Skillsoft provided, and that's with REST example client generated ID.